This video will show you how to work with students in multiple groups, getting their total time in zone and calories. To get started, we're going to create a session report like normal. Navigate to the session report and create a report that reflects the information that you're looking for. Okay, for you, it might be a week's time, it might be that grading period or the school year. I'm just going to backdate mine for a while just to make sure I have all the information I need here in this demo file. I'll go ahead and click the groups that student's a part of, or all of the groups if I want all the students' data, and I'll go ahead and click apply. Once you're here, you will get the time and zone and calories for students. But if you have a student in multiple groups, they will show up in two different places. Now, if you have only one or two of these, you can hand do them and add them up. But if you have multiple, like 100 or so, we're going to show you a nice, easy technique to combine those. To do that and then move on to the next step, go ahead and download the session detailed report. Now that you have your session detailed report open, that you downloaded from Excel, and you open from your downloads folder, you can then go ahead and highlight the entire file. By clicking the triangle in the top left-hand corner, you'll see now that they're all highlighted. We're now going to create a pivot table. If this is your first time for a pivot table, this video will show you how to do it, so no worries. So the first thing you're going to do is to come up to the top and click Insert. This will allow you to insert a pivot table, which will be the first option. When you click Pivot Table, it's going to ask you if you'd like to create it. You're going to click Yes, and it will open up a new tab here on the bottom. On the right-hand side, it's asking you what information would you like to display in your pivot table. The first thing that we're going to be separating our students out by is student ID. Okay, so I'm going to take the student ID and I want that to be my row. This is all the information will fall under student ID. So I bring it down here to the bottom left-hand square there where it says rows, and I place that in. You notice here on the left-hand side, it's now created a row of all the student IDs within the Spirit system. Next, I want to choose the information I'd like to see about each of those students. One of them is the time and zone. Okay, if we had that in multiple students, it's going to then total it up, the sum of those two numbers, and bring them in here and report it out. The other one we might want is calories expenditure, and we go ahead and give that a check as well. It'll then total them up for you, and you'll have all your students listed only one time right here in the same file. You can then go ahead and save this, and now you have it per student. If you'd like to see student's name instead of their ID, you can click last name and first name if you'd like to add that in. Now my students are just named student number 1, student number 2, things like that. So you're seeing it come up like that, but you can see down here it'll show up with the student's name. Now granted, all the information is now going to be tripled, okay, under that student's name. It'll give you the first, it'll give you the data you were looking for, and then it'll give it to you 2 more times, one for each of the components of that report. If I want to close that, I can, okay, and it'll bring it down so we just see it one time. Okay, so when you came in here, remember we grabbed the ID number. I'm going to go ahead and back out. We'll do this one more time to remind ourselves what we did here, and you can try it one more time. We moved the student ID into the rows square. That gave us our first column that all the other columns will be built out off of. And then we added the values, okay, just by clicking the check box next to time and zone and next to calories. That automatically brought it down here into the values column, a value square, and it shows up here in these 2 rows. If you have any more questions, please contact your customer success manager on how to create this report.